um, request or demand almost for what it will cost to purchase that property, that we need to revisit this number and request additional dollars to be split between our LLC and the Hannah City Village Board. I think the reality of this, though, is with the inducement of your business development district and with the dramatic increase in real estate taxes that this produces, um, it's a loan in a sense, but it's a loan that is very profitable in a sense for the city. Not only does it generate a great amount of taxes, when we consider 2% on the forecasted revenue of $525,000 a year, that's a loan that will be repaid almost within a year by the business development district as a whole, and within a few, about 3.25 years, additionally for the Hannah City Coffee Can.
So Justin, what do you, so what's the ask now in light of the information you found out today?
Sure. So we had originally requested $100,000, and that was $50,000 up front from Hannah City plus $50,000 from an outside investor or a second mortgage position from the bank. And in light of this request being the cost being $50,000 more, the ask is now $90,000 up front from the Hannah City Village Board and $50,000 to be paid to the second position investor.
Okay.
So the real true difference is $40,000.
Okay, but $40,000 on the front end.
Correct.
Would
if you found that you had to negotiate $40,000 through a 100% reimbursement of the business development district, the village tax, and the real estate taxes, we would be certainly open to that as well. It's just we're looking at what would essentially be about 9.5 years at 100% of those taxes to recoup. And if the village board really had a strong desire for this project to move forward to the tune of a $90,000 loan, if you will, which is what we're requesting, we would be happy to make the Hannah City Village Board the first position for repayment for all of that $90,000 before our second mortgage or second position holder in this investment.
Okay. And would you consider, you probably need time to run more numbers, but would you consider increasing the cap on a pay-as-you-go basis? So, rather than the full 90,000 the front end, maybe doing 50 now, but then we increase a % going forward, or and if you want to talk, later this week we can.
Yeah.
But maybe an increased % going forward.
Yeah, I think with this new development, I think what I would like to see is if Kyle and Justin and Ron and Nick can all get together and come up with something different. But before we let you go, are there any questions from the board members on what they're asking for, just so that we can get any of those questions figured out? I think what Kyle needs to do is go back with you guys and work up a new agreement that we can review and vote on, since this one that we have in front of us today is probably not going to be able to work for you guys.
Yeah, and that's the, I guess, the point that I was trying to get to. I mean, this is cumbersome enough trying to have it over video chat, but then in real time, trying to negotiate a deal that's complicated, I don't think it's doable, and I don't think anybody's going to get to a point tonight where they're comfortable enough with it to actually vote on it. I mean, we're going to have take back and rerun numbers and see if we can get to a place that is amenable to the village and still makes your project viable, and then look to bring it back on the 21st for an official vote. I realize that this has been a moving target, trying to get a number from from that property owner. It's unfortunate that we got it so late today.
I just want to say we're really looking for an opportunity to partner with the city, and the money that is potentially being provided up front to us is being repaid quickly, if you will, in the grand scheme of things, currently at 3.5 years. In the terms of the increment to your real estate taxes, the business development district taxes, and the 1% village tax. And we really firmly believe not only that we will be able to meet this aggressive goal for revenue that can be taxed on sales, but that this will continue to draw more people to stop in Hannah City and to utilize all the facilities of the city, all of the stores and all the opportunities, but that it'll become an attraction in some sense as well, and really develop a place in the downtown heart of the village that'll be utilized and will remove a home that is in a potentially dangerous position with that entrance onto 116 as it stands today, and potentially if we would move the project forward. And so while the increased cost is a burden, I think it's really in the best interest of that family to sell that home as we would potentially build. And if you've driven through that intersection there on 1st and 116, you'll appreciate, based on where they park and where the driveway is almost immediately across from the intersection at 1st and 116, just the traffic challenges that they face and that they would face as we would expand and build a coffee shop facility there.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any questions or concerns that they want to express at this time?
I just wondering about the house just south of that. If that fellow would be interested in something, would he be interested in selling with a cheaper price?
Okay, the question was if the price on the house that you're looking at now is too expensive, is there another piece of property that might be willing to sell that would still give you the same benefit that you might be able to get at a cheaper price?
Yeah, I'll share a few thoughts with you, and then Ron is welcome to chip in here. When we really think about the safety and the economic viability of this project, it makes the most sense for us to route people off of State Route 116 Farmington Road onto 2nd Street, to move through that property and to exit off of 1st. One, that meets the safety standards for the Illinois Department of Transportation. And two, it really helps us with the efficiency that we need to move people through during the critical hours of 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then the late afternoon hours when there's a commute. We looked at a spot that our other business currently owns that is on the corner of Murphy Road and Route 116, but without the entrance from that and forcing people in and out on Murphy Road, we just don't have the capacity to safely handle people. And so we looked at about 4 other options that were in the village as places to put it. And for both IDOT's concerns to address and for our efficiency, this is clearly the best and the only choice that we have to route people through.
Well, the property I was talking about is just the first house south of the one you're trying to buy.
With the ravine behind it?
Yes.
Yes.
And you're talking about moving the whole project back and just going around the house up front?
Yeah. You would get more property with that house than what you get with the one on the corner.
Actually not. I haven't even thought of it that way. My mind isn't even wrapped around that right now. You're kind of setting the project back so no one can see it. I don't think that's good for us. I don't think it's good for the city. I mean, I'm going to park a building on the back side of that big house and nobody's going to see it back there. And the guy sitting up front's not going to let us put up a big sign saying, hey, big coffee drive-through in his yard.
I think there could potentially be issues with trying to stretch commercial into a residential neighborhood. The project probably needs to stay along the 116 corridor. I guess the question comes, if the project doesn't work there, does it work somewhere else on 116? But of course, that site that you all have recently bid on and purchased, or attempting to purchase from the village, it's just so small that I don't know that anyone's ever going to be able to do anything there without land assemblage.
I can speak to that a little bit. As we spoke with the folks at IDOT, in order to operate a drive-through food service business, you need capacity for 13 vehicles or 260 prior to the place where individuals would order. So we have been working with an architect, and we have drawn up several models and designs to try and find a way to accommodate that traffic flow pattern without the potential of backing up traffic on 116, which is a major concern for IDOT, and thus a really major concern for us. And we have not been capable of drawing up any designs that would allow us to move the volume of cars that the Illinois Department of Transportation requires in and out of that lot in a timely, safe fashion.
We looked at the old Casey's building. I looked at Myers, the old Myers Mall, I guess you guys call it. Isn't that up on Main Street in 116, and that old Myers Mall? Looked at that. My wife and I just drove by it tonight, but there's just not enough room there. And then if we start backing them up on Main Street, we're going to pile everybody in front of the fire department. And I ain't so sure they're going to like that. So there's not, as you look on the GIS maps, it's when you combine them two lots, you got a good sized lot where you can get people in and stack cars off of 116. You just can't find anything else along there unless you go out there to the corner of across from Casey's, which Cannonball owns, which is a group of 4 guys. I don't know who they are, but I'm guessing they're not going to get rid of that. And there's also not an exit or entrance off of 116 there.
The other thing that this allows us to do is to really assist the neighbors who sit 1 block south of that property on 116 on both 1st Street and 2nd Street, that we can fill low spots and mitigate stormwater away from their properties. And so I think that as we have had conversations with neighbors in that area, they would really welcome the opportunity to work with us. And again, appreciate those safety and traffic patterns and need that property in order to move forward.
All right, very good. Any other questions before we move on? All right, fellas, thank you very much. We will be discussing this a little bit further in our meeting, so you're welcome to stay if you wish, but we're gonna go ahead and move on with the rest of our meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
All right. Moving down the agenda, we've got approval of our meeting, of our March 17th meeting. You should have received all of those in your packets. I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes. You have to unmute yourself. Who was that? Caleb? We've got a motion by Johnson.
Rod, second.
Second by Weaver. Any further discussion? All in favor, unmute yourselves and say aye.
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 Todd, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
All right.
Todd's froze.
Motion
Oh, there he
carried.
goes.
All right. You should have also received the treasurer's packet in your, I think that was sent out today. Bill, I don't think you probably got that, but everyone else should have gotten that on email today. So we are going down to approving the treasurer's report. Lori, do you have anything that you want to highlight on the treasurer's report? She says no.
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report, pay all outstanding bills.
All right, we've got a motion by Hoopengarner,
Second.
second by Johnson. Any further discussion? Roll call it.
Yes.
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All right, motion carried. Myrna, did you get all that? I don't hear anything from Myrna. Okay. Well, we'll move forward here. I'm hoping she can get this. If not, oh, by the way, we are recording this, so just so you know. Okay. Brandon, unmute yourself and give us a report.
About anything in my choice, or let's talk about insurance. No, the only thing I have is I wanted to move forward or get some guidance on the MFT program. When we last spoke, there was some consideration of maybe we wouldn't have one this year. We were going to collect some thoughts, maybe sit down when you were ready to talk about how we would move forward this year. As we get into April here with the every timeline known is, of course, upset right now, but I do think it would be prudent to move forward as quickly as we can. If we could submit something in May, that would be fantastic, if in fact you do choose to move forward this year. I do think we should have some sort of formal consideration of that, though, to understand what dollars you might save if you were to have no program this year, to have a very minimal program this year. So I'm looking for guidance. Perhaps there are two options that we've been doing with some of our communities. One is to go out there to try to practice and take social distancing very seriously, to go out with one person from Farnsworth and drive the streets and then propose a program to you. The other might be to try to do something virtual like this and talk, and then maybe go out and do our best in either separate cars or with distancing being followed, of course, to try to develop a program in the field this year. Or we could just do a virtual call like this, have a discussion, and if in fact you do not wish to submit a program at all this year, we could get that guidance and I guess not hurry to submit one. So I'm looking for some guidance on how you'd like to move forward, because we stand at the ready to prepare, get approval, and submit your program for you this year.
Kyle, your thoughts?
Well, according to both Tri-County and Transmap, I mean, they're still planning to do that work this summer. Of course, it's probably going to be pushed to late summer at this point. And I know that was what we had discussed last time that the MF question came up, was we know we're going to be getting this huge volume or tome of research, essentially, taking a real hard look at every road in town. There's going to be data and analytics that are going to show us which roads we should attend to keep certain pavement condition index ratings. And so, you know, that was kind of what Brandon was alluding to. I think it was mentioned last time, well, do we just punt on MFT this year, let that money pool up, and then see what this Transmap data shows, and then we can really then next year we could do, I guess, more of just kind of an educated and more targeted MFT program, and then you would essentially have twice the funds. I mean, that MFT goes into the MFT account there at the village. As far as I know, there's never been issues with rescission if you choose not to use it one particular year. So I don't think that that's a concern.
No.
And so really, it'd just be up to you, Mr. Mayor, and the board to, I guess, develop that policy for Brandon and I to follow. But I just think there could be a lot of benefit to waiting until we get all of that data from Transmap.
Okay, from the board, what do you think? We are still waiting for Transmap to come and do their assessment of our roads. Can we wait a little bit and just do some maintenance on our roads this year and save a major MFT project for next year when we get more information?
Yeah,
That's what I think
that
would
would
be
be
a good
my
idea.
All right, Rod first. Go ahead, Rod.
That would be my vote to wait this year and get the Transmap information and do a bigger project next year.
All right, who else wanted to weigh in?
Tony here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would agree with Rod. I was just saying that, yeah, I say we do what we can as far as this, you know, maybe smaller maintenance and then keep what we need to do the bigger project next year.
Okay, Caleb's given a thumbs up. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? Deanna's thumbs up.
Sounds good to me.
All right, my only question, and this is for Brandon, is if we don't do a formal program and submit it to IDOT, can we still spend MFT money? We have about $41,000 in our MFT fund at this point. Can we spend some money if we want to do a little patching on our own? I know our street guys are able to do some patching and stuff, and they're already going out and filling some holes. Can that money be spent out of MFT, or would that money just come out of general fund?
I think if you're going to spend funds this year, you have to submit a program. And that's what I might recommend is every year you have a $30,000 to $50,000 program. And you do have, I don't know, it depends, but $5,000 to $10,000 of those smaller miscellaneous road salt, street signs, culverts, patching. And the rest is the bigger projects. I would recommend, if you want to bank as much money as you can, that you submit a very small program this year that allows you some of those smaller miscellaneous things and gives you a little bit of flexibility if something comes up. You know, maybe you submit a $7,000 program and bank $35,000 for next year. But I would recommend that you submit something small.
All right, you've heard Brandon's recommendation.
Do we get more money if we submit a program than if we just let it sit and accumulate?
No, I mean, it's your money and you either spend it or you don't. But I think you do have to have a program to spend it against. But it'll roll over, whatever you don't use.
Yeah, so a small program, if we went to spend a few $1,000s, we're still going to be out the setup costs. I mean, your fees then, correct?
It is, but our fees are nothing, and they're based on a percentage. I think, and I don't have it in front of me, the fees for the very small things, I believe, are 1% because there's no design involved to it. It's administrative. So it's going to be $1,500, $2,000, something in that neighborhood to prepare the paperwork and submit it because there's nothing on the back end of it. And there's no design. And then we get the bigger percentages when there's design and then when there's construction administration. So, you know, just to put in for street signs and road salt, it's minimal.
So it just comes up if we want to cover those minor issues out of MFT
versus general. Yeah, you could.
Out of general, just bank the whole thing.
You could, but I guess my opinion is that would not give you the flexibility to be able to use the MFT program. But it's up to you. I could send a draft or some thoughts. Just pull out the miscellaneous things, send it over for you guys to consider, and then you could make a decision next time. I guess give us some guidance or not. I just think if you didn't submit anything, you would have no flexibility to be able to have an emergency culvert, street sign, road patching repair type thing if you needed to.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, Brandon, you said that your fee is a percentage of what we submit.
Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry, please.
Yeah, no, I mean what we would submit as a proposal for our MFT, then your fee is 1%.
There's a flat fee, and then it depends on the type of project. There are categories, and it's all at the bottom of that stuff. And I'm sorry, guys, I left the office 2.5 weeks ago, and I haven't been back, so I don't have it in front of me. But it depends on the category of the project. I think they're 1, 2, 3, and then 5%, depending on the complexity of the project. So I hate to be quoted here, but yeah, it depends on the size and complexity of the project of the program. And since this program would have neither size nor complexity, it would be minimal. I can put that together for you for review well in front of the next meeting if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, because I don't really want to pay $1,500 or $2,000 fee for a $7,000 or $10,000 program.
I can understand that.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought, Rod. Exactly. Percentage-wise, it's such a big percentage. When you get down to that small of amount, you have to pay such a large percentage of it to administer it.
We're better off just to do the $7,000
General
fund.
Yeah, I can understand that. Let me get those numbers for you in the next day or two to spin around. But I can understand that. And that if that in fact, were to say, let's not submit a program this year, I do want to ask, is there something that you need to do, whether it's a submittal form or just a simple letter to let them know you're not blowing them off, you know what I mean, or not going to submit it sometime in August and get in trouble. So that's an understandable position.
All right, very good. Anyone else have anything? All right, Brandon, if you send me that information, I'll make sure it gets to the board, and we'll give you an answer before our next meeting if we want to move forward with a MFT program.
I appreciate it. That's exactly the guidance I was looking for. Thank you, guys.
All right, and unless anyone has any questions for Brandon, I'm going to go ahead and let him leave the meeting if he wants to.
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome to stay if you want, but
I'm going to send an email to my MFT guys right here. I'm going to get after it, but I do want to say I appreciate this. Is not an easy time, and I hope you all stay safe.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks all. Bye now.
Bye-bye. All right. Now that Bill has got himself a nice easy chair, we can continue. All right.
Unmute Bill.
Patrick, you got anything for us?
Not too much. I think you've got a copy of this ordinance we've prepared. It is, all it does is make violating the governor's order an ordinance violation. So you can enforce the government or the governor's orders during this time. So that's the only thing we've really got on the agenda on our side.
All right. You should have in your packets an ordinance. It would be numbered 20-04-01. It's an ordinance amending the village code, our nuisance code, that would give us the ability in our ordinance to enforce the governor's stay-at-home order. I don't see us using it much, but we've had several complaints up here already of his order being violated. Part of the problem with enforcing the order is what people are complaining about are really not in violation of the order. You need groups of 10 or more to really be in violation, if I'm correct there, Patrick. To be in violation of the order, it's got to be groups of 10 or more. But we have not noticed that in our community, but there have been some communities that have noticed it. There was a church just south of us that held a church service with more than 10 people in attendance. And so, that's kind of what prompted this change in our ordinance. Does anyone have any questions? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 20-0401.
So moved.
Okay, I've got, I think Weaver and Johnson. Any further discussion? All right, roll call it. Caleb?
Yes.
Bill? All right, you're muted, Bill. Give me a thumbs up. All right, Bill's got it, okay. Who's on next? Tony?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
all right. Motion carried. Anything else for us, Patrick? I
Not
know,
right now.
I know your office is trying to keep up with all of this information that's coming out. I appreciate you guys working on that for us. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Kyle, you're up.
I don't have anything tonight specifically beyond what's already on the agenda for our discussion.
Okay, we'll move on down to committee reports then. Deanna, would you like to go first?
The only thing that's on there on the agenda is the budget discussion. I know everybody was emailed or the copy of the new budget worksheet that we're going to be having up. I have looked through some of it, but not all of it, because I just got it printed today. It's very hard to read on email without printing it out. It's almost impossible.
Exactly.
The only question that I had, or concern, well, not really a concern, but a question that I had was the, oh, where was it? The sales tax. I know it's got, the BDD begins January 21. The proposed budget for that is 200,000, which is 60,000 above last year's budget. Is that because of the coffee place, or, I mean, I don't know where that figure's coming from.
That's actually because of the BDD itself. So if you
Okay.
have $140,000 in sales tax that the village is already receiving, the BDD by its very nature, because we intend to include every business within Hannah City, it adds another 1% portion to the sales tax, which effectively doubles your sales tax revenue overnight. The reason only 60,000 is because we are not picking up the BDD income until January 1st.
Okay.
Next year, when we would get a full year for fiscal for the fiscal year starting in May of 21, if the sales tax projections are still holding at 140,000, you're effectively going to double it to 280,000. That is the beauty of the business development district. Whereas as we just experienced tonight, these TIF deals, they don't immediately start generating funds. For one thing, property taxes are always in arrears. So even if a developer is not asking for funds back, it still takes a year or two before that project actually comes online. The BDD is essentially going to be instantaneous. So that's where that estimate came from.
Okay. Well, that's what I thought, but I just thought I'd make sure I'm thinking the same way that.
All right. Has anyone else looked at it and studied it and had any questions? I know Bill and I talked about some other things, but does anyone else have any questions on the budget as it is was sent to you?
Did we get that resolved?
Pardon me, Bill?
Did we get that resolved on the building?
Not on the one that you have. Bill talked to me about the one category. I don't have my budget right in front of me, but on the building improvements for the sewer, we had in there, I think, $50,000. I don't know the line item on that. And he thought that we needed to increase that to 60,000. So we might see that go up. He also mentioned that on the line item for the village hall improvements, we had bumped that up to 10,000, and he thought we could probably get away with 5,000 since we are not planning on any immediate upgrades to the village hall. So I think those were your concerns. The other one that he brought to me was a cleaning service for the village hall, trying to keep that clean. We used to have a cleaning person come in. He's got another proposal, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the meeting.
That was on infrastructure improvements 1-41-850. And it was 60,000 and it got dropped down to 50,000.
Right. And so we'll look at that.
Why, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't we have to, we've only got one meeting left before we have to approve our budget.
Correct.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have, as you look through that, if you have any other suggestions, please let me know as soon as possible so that I can get with Kyle and we'll give you an updated one before our next meeting that we can approve.
Okay. The only other thing that I have is the discussion or approval of the coffee can tip proposal. It sounds like we're gonna move that back to the next meeting until we get better figures.
Right. I think with the update that they just got today, I think we're gonna have to discuss that. What are your feelings? I know Kyle has talked to some of you. I've talked with some of you. Do you want us to keep moving forward with this project?
Is that the final price on the house then? Do they counter, or are they just going to take the 120 and figure on it?
I think they are still in negotiations. That 120 figure came in this afternoon to them. I'm sure they're going to counter, but I doubt if they're going to get it for less than 100,000.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's still better than 120.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as long as we're the prime payback, that'd be the most important thing. And then even the proposal that Nick offered, where they take some of it on the back end and some of it up front. I mean, it'd probably be nice to maybe split up if we're going to have more obligation. It'd probably be nice to split some of that up, but instead of it all up front to us, see if they could absorb some of it up front, and we could absorb some up front and push some of it back to the back end of the deal on their recovery, instead of maybe taking the entire hit up front, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's the tightrope that we try and walk with these projects.
Yeah.
Find a portion that's palatable up front to the village, something that works for them. And then, of course, you can attempt to make them whole later on in the deal, since it is going to go on for 23 years. It's just, I think for them, there's a certain break point because there is a time value of money. So hopefully they can get the house for a more reasonable price, and we can continue these negotiations in earnest over the next couple of weeks, and try and find a new agreement, I guess, to where we can all move forward and they can have a successful project and the village can still generate some new revenue.
Fred, you're muted.
Yep, sorry. The other thing that I just want to throw out in our discussion here is that each project that we do in the TIF district stands on its own. So, the very first one that we do, we might be a little bit more lenient than others that come to us. But each project stands on its own, so that as we move forward, if there's another project that comes along, we don't have to do the same type of incentive for them.
Yes.
And to piggyback on that, Mr. Mayor, it's important what type of project it is as well. I mean, this is a really desirable project because it's going to generate a lot of sales and BDD tax. You may not give as generous of a deal to somebody that's going to just come in and do a small office that isn't going to generate any sales or business development tax. It's only going to generate a small portion of real estate tax. So I just, as the mayor said, these deals are all one-offs, and they're all negotiated, and they're all reviewed independently.
All right. Sewer.
I don't have anything at this moment.
All right. Streets and alleys.
Yeah, I don't have anything right now.
All right. Police and planning.
With the agenda, I think everybody has the TIF boundary map that was sent out, and the BDD boundary map.
You won't have a BDD map
Yeah.
yet. That did not make it to the presses.
So basically, it looks like everything, almost everything except a couple neighborhoods up there, around Lakeshore and that.
Yeah, Lakeshore area was excluded. Over on the northwest portion of the village, there was a neighborhood over there that was excluded, and then there was some property to the south of 116 that was excluded, and then you may see a few other weird little donut holes in places, and those are properties that are owned by an elected official, and so by law, by statute, those have to be excluded from the TIF district.
So so like Brad Court, that's excluded, correct?
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it, but I put the map up on my screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yes, Brad Court is excluded. It's this green area over here that's excluded, and also Phil Gould Drive and all of that over in this area is excluded. Can you guys see that?
Not all of it.
Are our individual properties then, Fred, this is Tony, are they then exempt from this too then?
I don't understand your question.
Yeah, if you're an elected official, the property you own cannot be included.
Correct. Okay, any other questions? Now I got to try to figure out how to get back to this. All right.
I'll just say it looks like I thought it would look. The neighborhoods excluded that I figured would be excluded. There was no surprises.
Okay. Kyle, do we have to approve this boundary thing, or are we just moving forward? We indicated that we would be coming to you with the boundaries. Do we have to have them approve these boundaries?
I believe that will come later after.
There we go.
That will come later after Jacob and Klein have done more of their work. This was just an effort to give them something to go off of to begin that work.
All right. Very good then. Anything else? Caleb, do you have anything else under yours?
Just the TIF and the BDD boundary.
All right.
The maps have been a bit slow coming together with I don't know, just with some of the struggles we've having with everybody being out of the office right now. But essentially the BDD, as we discussed, we're gonna attempt to just pick up every business within the village. So it's gonna include all of 116 Main, and then it'll snake down and pick up a lot of the property over by the Public Works garage.
And the BDD, can it utilize right away to bridge or no?
That sounds like a good question for Nick Nelson if he's still hanging around.
No, he's left us.
Okay.
He left. No, it's the BDD is not. I hate to give you a wrong answer, but my sense is that right away can. The BDD is not as strict as the TIF district statute, and whereas the TIF, for instance, you have to exclude elected officials' parcels. With the BDD, you don't. So the BDD is a completely different animal than the TIF district, and it's not held to the same standard. So because really the BDD potentially doesn't provide as much incentive back to an individual property owner as what the BDD does. So I can find out specifically, Caleb, but my sense is that it can jump right away.
All righty. Let's go on to water.
Water, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We had one check out of water escrow for the amount of $100. It was approved. Getting to the report, no shutoffs right now. Of course, we suspended that during the COVID-19. 0 on the level pay plan. Still 6 in foreclosure for $716.91. Approximate gallons sold 1,808,314. And that's all the direct water related stuff that I had. Then I had, I don't know if anybody got the teed up for the troops thing I put in the water packet too. I'm a member of that board, and I didn't do this last year, but bringing it up to the board this year. I'm not sure what the board's opinion is as far as sponsoring an event. If a sponsorship is done and the event doesn't happen, the money will be refunded back to the village. We've already done that. We've actually moved this year's golf outing from 2 courses down to 1 course, with everybody having, looking at having less to be able to give with everything going on. So I just bring it to the board and ask for recommendation. You know, anything helps, so it doesn't matter what it is.
All right, did everyone receive that information on, it should have been in your board packet in reference to the request for a donation for the Tee It Up for the Troops that helps our veterans? Does anyone have a proposal? I'm not sure what we did last year. Can someone help me out? Help me remember that?
2 years ago, we did 1,000, Fred.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone want to throw anything out there or wait till our next? Go ahead.
Are we voting on this tonight?
We can.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we give $1,000 to Tee It Up for Troops again for this year.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Hoopengarner, a second by Weaver for $1,000 donation to Tee It Up for the Troops. Any further discussion? Let's see, roll call. Bill?
There, yes.
Tony?
Abstain.
Todd?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Deanna?
Yes.
And Caleb?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries.
Thank you, everybody, and that's all I have for water then, Fred.
All right. Okay. Mr. Steer, you're up.
Yes. The only thing I have is the housekeeping issue that you and I discussed. And I talked to Brenda. Brenda is willing to take some extra hours and go ahead and do the housekeeping on after her regular hours. I mentioned 3 hours a week. Fred mentioned up to 4. So.
All right. Well, yeah, what Bill is talking about is we used to have someone come in and do our cleaning of the offices, just the vacuuming, the dusting, the cleaning of the floors and stools, bathrooms and that. We haven't had anyone for a while. And the place is getting pretty dirty. So instead of going out and hiring someone new, what Bill and I discussed was giving one of our part-time employees a few more hours, and they would use those hours to do the cleaning. He has spoken with Brenda about that, and she said she would be willing to do that. So we would just add that to her job description to do that. Does anyone have any ideas or concerns about that?
What's her current rate of pay? Does anybody know?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
I have it in, let's see if I can find it.
Right now, Brenda's making $11.84.
Yeah.
I think it's more than that.
She's making, I think she is working approximately 20 hours a week, I believe, part-time. And so we would allow her basically to work up to 24 hours a week, and 4 of those hours would be dedicated to the cleaning.
It's not necessarily 4 hours a week, just up to 4 hours.
Up to 4 hours, yes. We don't know what it would take.
And maybe.
Although I came in and cleaned this place last night after our light people came in, and it took a long time, let me tell you.
Well, she'd be dusting the blinds down, washing the windows, cleaning both restrooms.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that. I don't do windows.
But you did the toilets.
I did the toilets, I did the floors, and that took me about over 2 hours. So.
I have no issue with her wanting to clean up.
All right. Kyle, were you able to find that information for us?
Yeah, I don't have my laptop with me. I was trying to look at my phone. I think it's like in the 1380 range. I think it was up close to about $14 an hour, what she
Okay,
currently
that's
makes.
fine. I think that's good, Kyle.
Yeah.
Well, when Crystal was doing it, she was getting $11.23 an hour. That was back in 2014. And at that time, Lori was the water clerk, and she was making $11.60 an hour. So she was getting about 37 cents less than what Lori was paying.
Okay. As we're on the discussion of employees. Okay. Lori just told me that she is currently at 1508.
Yeah.
As we're discussing employees here, we also need to be voting on any compensation for them. We will be voting on that at our next meeting. So please send me any ideas that you have on compensation for our employees. We'll have to be voting on that next week. And Patrick, I'll be talking to you about how we can do a private meeting with Zoom to discuss employee stuff. So I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but I'll be getting back with you on that. But
Yep, no problem.
all right. What else you got for us, Bill? Anything?
Do I have to make a motion to have Brenda do this, or the hour or two of time?
How about if we include that in the employee compensation that we pass next week or next meeting? Is that okay, or do you want her to start right away?
No, sooner the better, I think, but it's gonna make any difference. So,
All right.
you just go ahead and put in her job description and.
All right. All right, yeah, we'll update that job description and get that approved. We'll put that on the agenda for approval at our next meeting. And then when we vote on employee compensation, it'll be reflected in that.
Right.
All right.
Good.
All right. Any other questions? Anything else from the committees? All right. Our next board meeting is April 21st. I've got one more thing. For those that may not know, Bill Steer's sister passed away on March 28th. So I'd like to have a motion to approve a memorial for Maud Elizabeth Powers. And I'll get with Bill and figure out who he wants the memorial to go to. But
I'll move.
Second.
motion by Hoopengarner, and was that Weaver?
Frexell.
Seconded? Frexell seconded. Yeah. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried.
Abstain.
Gotcha.
Abstain.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else that needs to come before the board? Let me just give you a couple other things that has been happening here and things that you guys might be aware of, might not be aware of. Kyle has been working very hard on trying to get new businesses to town and meeting with people, and we have gotten some, I would call it very good news. I think we mentioned at our last meeting that there's a possibility of a new business coming to town, wanting that building next to the village garage. It sounds like they were looking at us and one other place that I'm aware of, and it sounds like they have decided to move forward with purchasing that building. So as long as that purchase goes through, it sounds like we will be getting a new business in town, one that will be very good for Hannah City and could even help some of our other local businesses in town, giving them some work possibly. So that's a good thing. What else am I missing, Kyle? What else have we been working on?
That was really the big thing. I mean, of course, we still have the trail grant out there floating around, and I was hoping to hear back from them originally in May or June. I have no idea what that's going to look like now. All the staff that's responsible for reviewing and scoring those applications is all trying. They're all trying to work from home. We don't know what those timelines are going to look like. So Obviously, we're still in the queue. The federal money is still there. The program is still moving forward. We just don't know what the dates are going to be. But the big thing is securing the robotics integration company. Every town, and especially a village the size of Hannah City, this is a dream pickup. It's high tech, light, clean industry. They're going to have several highly skilled engineering type employees working there. They've got big plans to really clean up the property, and within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they anticipate they've been out spending tens of thousands of dollars on new equipment, and they expect within the next 2 to 3 weeks, a lot of that equipment will start being delivered. And I was worried about this virus scare kind of slowing their progress or slowing them down. And if anything, it has actually helped their business as people look to send their employees home and continue processing orders using now robots. So if anything, they have just gotten busier and they've picked up additional contracts. So that's something still that the board, we really need to continue thinking about, is what it looks like for this company when it comes time for them to expand, because the only direction they can go is to the east. So again, I'm staying in close communication with them, but it's something that we're going to have to continue to work on and try and flesh out what that agreement might look like.
Okay. Along with that, Kyle mentioned that, one of the good things about them purchasing that property is that they are going to clean it up. That's something else that we have been working on this past week or two with spring, people out walking. They can't go anywhere, so they're out in their yards and they're walking, and they're complaining about neighbors' properties and things. I have sent out, I think, about 10 letters to property owners that we have asked them to start cleaning up their place. Hopefully we will start seeing some results. We're already seeing some on a couple of the places that we've just sent letters to. So hopefully within the next month, we'll have a lot of these properties cleaned up. But that's something else we've been working on. The other thing with this COVID-19, the state, I'm getting flooded with emails on 10, 12 on a daily basis in reference to trying just to keep up with this moving target with all of the things that are out there. One of the things that I've been to several meetings on is this Downstate Business Stabilization Program. That is a federal program that is being administered through the state, trying to help our smaller businesses. So I've been trying to keep up with that. We've made a list of all of our businesses in town, trying to get updated contact information for them, especially email addresses. We don't have any email addresses for any of our businesses. Some of these things have a very short turnaround. There's a $20 million has been allocated for the state of Illinois to help the small businesses. Each business can request up to $25,000 to help their small business. It basically gives them 60 days worth of working capital if they have been impacted by this COVID-19. So I've been working with Peoria County and the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council, trying to put together a list of our businesses, get the information out to our businesses so that they are aware that there is some help out there for them, and we'll be working on that. But there's just so much information out there that we're trying to sift through, finding ways to help our community bounce back from this. So those are some of the things that we've been working on, even though we're sheltering in place. So, anyone else have anything for the council?
Stay healthy.
Pardon me?
Stay healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy. All right, thank you. Hey, we made it through the meeting. Seemed to work.
Hey,
pretty well.
everybody, if you get a chance, look outside at the moon. It's beautiful.
All right, go moon gazing. It's a beautiful evening out there.
It is.
All right, everybody stay safe. Thank you very much. And we will plan on doing another Zoom meeting on April 21st. Thank you
Okay.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye.